Hello and welcome to this walkthrough tour of A Lighter Shade of Pale. What I'd like to do now is just run you through what you will find on the CD, and it's one that I've kind of grown to love. This one, a little bit different from something that I've normally done, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it as much as I have doing this one. So let's start off by showing you what you're going to find on the CD. Now we will click onto it. It will run on your Mac and your PC. And what I'd like to do, I said, is just run through the menus. So let's start off here with our pale backing papers. Now if we click onto that, we'll see we get 3 boxes come up here. So there's 60 papers in total. Now the papers reflect the title, A Lighter Shade of Pale. They're just very pale coloured textures. And I think this just makes for a wonderful backing paper. It's a great building block. Now, my personal card making preference is to go with matte and layering. And so I often want just a basic layer to begin with and then work my way up. But I found that these work, I think, really nicely as backing papers for you, that you can then build up with your card image or just work with as a very subtle background. So it's really up to you. And as you can see, that they're just based on the themes of just very light pale papers. They're not there to necessarily look embossed. It's just a very pale paper. Some of them are. We've got sort of a pseudo embossed look to them. But it's about looking at texture and just how we could use this in our craft and card making and have something that's just a little bit different. So I said there's 60 papers in total, and I'm just sort of clicking at some of these at random. As ever, there's a nice floral theme running throughout this CD. You can see here just a lovely pale line illustration of the flowers in there, with something completely different here. Just sort of a slightly deco stroke 60s looking design, and then coming back to again just a very nice background image that we've used there. So each of the sets has a sort of slightly different flavour to it. I said this one's looking at the more floral aspects of design, and again a lovely sort of very pale paisley, but it's just a beautiful backdrop because the nice thing about this is it'll work with any colour scheme that you're working with. It's very neutral, so you're not going to find it fighting with the additional layers that you build up. So I think it makes a really good building block for you. As you can see, I'm just dipping in here at random, and we've got a whole range of different sort of designs and ideas here. This is one I particularly like. It's funny, you always kind of get favourites, things that draw you towards it. And I've got some, like I said, here's some basket weave, which is just lovely hints of a shade that creates the image that we've got there. So different variations of that, through to something which is a bit more patterned like this. Just a lovely plain backing paper, but full of life and vibrancy when it's used in conjunction with your matte and layering techniques. Wavy lines, so a little bit of everything. I said there is a nice floral theme sort of running through it as well. So again, think of this as a fantastic resource for your card making, for all of your craft activities and your scrapbooking as well. I think you'll find that there's a place for it everywhere within your crafting. And these papers they're A4, so there'll be a full A4 for you. So as I said, 3 sets, 60 in total for you there. Okay, so foil to that, we've gone to pale backing papers. Now we've got the floral papers, and again I've got this in 2 flavours, so the full colour and then a shade of it as well, the much lighter colour. So if I just come on to the full colour, again unashamedly florals. I think that these are just a cure-all for crafting. We've got spring in the air, but it's good for any time of year. Now I've gone for a very sort of retro feel for this, a sort of 50s and just creeping into the 60s as well, but it's very much 50s based retro, which although on trend at the moment, I think you find is always going to be a sort of a on trend papers. That's the beauty of it, that you've got something, a resource here that you can keep dipping into, and it'll be as fresh in 10 years time. And that's one of the things I do strive for when I'm making these CDs. It's not a la mode and then kind of gone next year. It's like, that was last year's. It's something which is a timeless beauty to it. So as I said, very much well, it's floral, but with a sort of a 50s feel, and then sort of later 50s, and just a little band here creeping into the 60s slightly, just sort of not so illustrative, slightly flatter colour, but still lovely to work with, and almost contemporary as well. I think that's the beauty of it. So a good range and selection for you here, and I don't think you'll be disappointed with these at all. And they just make fantastic backdrops for your cards. And as I said, they'll also come, I've pre-tinted them here, so we've got a nice tinted paper. Now they'll also double up as inserts. Now these blue boxes won't print out, but they're there. If you click onto it, you can then start to use it as text editable. That will make an A5 card, and that's portrait, and you can click onto here and that will become the A6 insert for you as well. But there are other inserts if you just don't type anything in, which is why I've got no messages, so there's nothing to delete for you before you start. You can use the templates to make any sized insert that you want to as well. So if I go on to the text editable inserts here, you'd simply print the paper out and then click onto one of these if you wanted it to square, and then just type in. It will over type and then you cut it out. It's as simple as that. Bit of old-fashioned crafting there, but it's there if you want to make some special inserts as well. But as I said, it already comes with those ones sort of pre-prepared for you. Okay, moving on to the theme with this, although it's pale papers, and you see the first section is a little bit of everything. Obviously I said my floral backing papers, pin their colours to the mast and florals. Now I've taken that theme on and just given you some toppers here. Now I've worked in the square format, and what I've done is produced a square that I think will work well for you in an A5 square, A6 and A7 card, but it's up to you. You can work with those any way that you want to as well. But I said I've very much gone for the square look on here. It's just something I quite like about this. But there's nothing to stop you dropping this down, matte and layering, and putting a message underneath, and you've got an image that will work perfectly on an A5 landscape card as well. So and if you want to, you can even trim them down. There's always a little bit of play, usually like on this one to this size here, that you could just trim it down if you want that format to feel a little bit out of square and more rectangular. So there is what I call wiggle room on all of them to allow you just to trim in if you so want to. But they will work, as I said, very nicely as matte and layering within the A5 square cards, A5 landscape, and also in the smaller sizes as well. Because you'll notice what I've done is put them in the smaller sizes. Some of them fill up the area, others have a space. It just looks lovely as it is, but you could put embellishments within this area here if you wanted to as well. There's sort of a natural open area on some of them, just to put perhaps an embellishment. I've got butterflies and flowers on here, and you could, if you've got your dies, just put a lovely little butterfly if you wanted to, or anything else that you wanted in that corner. Coming back to, say, the full-on butterflies, again, there's always a little pause or quiet area within the design. You don't have to fill it, but it's there if you want it and need it. So you can see the flavour of what we've got here, and again how it's possible just to cut down if you want to change the format of it. Okay, so there's 20 of those, and so different sort of styles and colours. Here we've got sort of like a heart theme going through. Great for all occasions, really. Mother's Day, thank you cards, birthday cards, a little bit of anything and everything for you there. So those can be used as toppers. And just a serving suggestion, I like, there's no decoupage on this, but I do like just putting them up on, say, a single layer. Monopage, as I've named it on the TV, but it works really well. Just one layer can just make it look that little bit special on the card, and it still fits in within our postal remit as well. Now, to follow this, I've got my A6 folds here, and these will create lovely cards for you. They just look so lovely. It's a little bit smaller. It's an A6 size. If I click onto one, so we get 2 out of an A4. Those toppers will fit on. This is the blank template, so all you have to do is print the colour that you want. I would suggest you go for the pale papers or the lighter shades of floral ones, but it really is up to you. The dark ones can look lovely. It's your card. You make it your way. And then it'll create a really beautiful card. You can just build up and put your toppers around it. 6 designs here. So I've chosen 6. I think I've designed, I think about nearly 30 now, just over 30 of these. And I've condensed it down to 6 that I think will just work beautifully for you. They're brilliant. I know, I'm really excited about them because they just, I do love playing around with scale, and I can't tell you, they just look so lovely. Really lovely to work with, simple to make, fantastic cards. And put a tutorial on here just to show you how to do that as well. It's very, very simple, but the tutorial's on there showing you how to make the cards. So no problems there, and again, that's up to you. It's a resource to use, because this CD is a kind of a double thing in a way. It's both a resource CD but a complete CD in its own right. You can make beautiful cards with everything that we've got here. And I'm going to come back to the stretch card in a minute. We've also got word themed papers here. Now again, this is in keeping with our title, a lighter shade of pale. And I've just made these up, and they'll work at any angle, so they're all jumbled around here. There's no particular right way, so you can use them any way that you like. And again, a fantastic backing paper for you to work with. Not only on the cards on this particular CD, but any of your projects. I think you'll find they'll work really well. And as I said, I've jumbled it up so they'll work from any view, landscape, portrait, upside down, whatever you want to go. And if you're, what I would suggest you do if you're working with them is obviously print them out. And I've just made them slightly more compressed on the left-hand side here than on the right. So if you've got slightly smaller cards, you'll find that those are a little bit smaller on that side and slightly bigger on there if you want to play around with the scales. So if you were matte and layering an A5 card, that just gives you an idea that maybe an A6 or an A7, you could use the smaller areas here. But overall, they look beautiful at this size. So a little bit of work on my part for you there. But I, again, don't think you'll be disappointed with these. They're lovely. I've got 21 titles for you, so a little bit of everything here for you. Should just cover most occasions. And I just think it just makes a lovely backdrop or a starting off point for a card if you're matte and layering, or making a little gift box or something to hand to someone. They're subtle and they look lovely. Okie dokie, so as I said, 21 titles to choose from, and you can use those in all your crafting projects, your scrapbooking, card making, whatever it is that you're working with. Now, the stretch cards have been really popular, and I've added this section here. If you haven't had a go at making stretch cards, it's a great way of starting. These designs are pre-drawn up for you, pre-designed. And I've taken the 20 floral backing papers and I've lightened them down even further. I've made them a very, very light background so that you can now work with them and build them up and embellish them if you want to. And these come again with full instructions. All you have to do is print this on one side, then turn it over and print the other side. This is bigger, so that will allow for any play in your printer, and you'll get a perfect card out of that. We've also got the band across the top here, which works beautifully across the top of the card and creates a kind of diamond shape when it's made up. So they're there for you. Now these will work beautifully with the new dies that I've got. We've got the straight trellis die that will just cut in down here and just make beautiful cards for you as well. And there's also a template, which I know you can say we've got it on the computer, not compulsory, but just to let you know it's there, because you can work with the template on any of the backing papers here. Well, you've already got these on here, but if you wanted to use the darker colours or even the pale one or anything else that you've got, you could just put the template in. Now if you print edge to edge, if your printer allows you, the new template, you can actually get both of them out of one sheet of paper there. So the template's quite useful to work with as well. But in the realms of the CD, you don't need anything else other than your printer and some good old crafting know-how, and you can make, I said, really beautiful cards with these. Don't forget, you don't have to make them into stretch cards. You could just work with them as ordinary cards if you want to as well. So we've got the little guidelines here, they'll all disappear when they're cut and put together. They'll all disappear for you. You really won't get to see those, so they won't be obtrusive. And again, a nice idea to work with. It just adds to sort of your crafting arsenal, as it were. And there we go, we've got full instructions. I've just written you a sheet here showing you how to make them. Old hands, you know exactly what you're doing, and I think you'll have great fun. And new people, give it a go. It's great fun. So there we go, that really sums up the CD. We've got, last but not least, down here, if you've got other stretch cards and you want to put text editability on them, once you've printed it out, before you cut it out, you can feed it back through and put a greetings message anywhere on any of the panels. And there's a layout guide here to show you how they work. So the hidden panels, it's if you put text on here on side panel 1, say, obviously you're not going to see it, but your front facing ones are here, and that's your back one. So if you just want a greetings on the back, when you make your first panel, they'll be there. So just to put it into context, this works for the straight and the rounded ones. So side 2, you would go back and you'd use this part here, and you could just type it in and you'll have a greetings message on the back of your car. So that will put everything in place for you. So that's just a little tool and a guideline to work with if you want to get your text onto the cards. Okie dokie, so there we go. That's really just sort of sums up everything that we've got on the CD. It's a very light, refreshing CD. It's a resource CD, but it's also a complete CD in its own right. You've got toppers, you've got backing papers, some beautiful resources on here to work with, and I think you'll really enjoy it. I love the smaller A6 fold cards, the backing papers, the toppers. In fact, the whole thing's come together, and I hope that you're going to enjoy working with this CD. I'm really, when you make something, you kind of you get fond of it, and there's different areas that you like, but overall I just think this really will help make absolutely lovely cards, and I hope you enjoy working with the CD. Okie dokie, take care and enjoy your crafting. Bye bye.